Hello and welcome to CU150. I'm Tim Montague with the Small Business Development Center at the Champaign County EDC. Today is May 22nd and we are here in Studio SBDC with Tim Deppen and Nisha Ismail of Servabo, which is a personal safety technology company based here at the Research Park at the University of Illinois. Welcome to the show, Tim and Nisha.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for having us. It's a pleasure to be here.
Really good to have you on the show. I've been working with you both for, gosh, I don't know, maybe 6 months. And it's been cool to see how the product has evolved. Mm-hmm. But tell us a little bit about the ideation for Servabo. How did you guys meet, and what are two engineers doing in the personal safety space?
Good question.
Yeah.
Want to go ahead?
Sure. So Nisha and I first met back in November. Well, we first met back in 2011 when we were doing student projects for the mechanical engineering department at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. But then we really decided to try our hand at entrepreneurship in November of 2012 when you mentioned to me that you have a very strong passion for women's safety and you were interested in trying out for the Closure ID Venture competition and asked me if I was willing to be a part of that team. And I thought it would be a fun project, so I said sure at the time, having no idea that it would come to be such an important focus of my life.
Yeah, so it was just a conversation over lunch, nothing more initially. And from there, we just decided, okay, this sounds like a good idea. Let's talk to some people and figure out. And being engineers, you know, we were hypothesizing, testing it out kind of thing.
Right.
And then we started with the pepper spray. It kept changing with every person we talked to into now what it is, which is an electronic panic button with a smartphone component. And then we participated in the COSAT New Venture competition in April of 2013. And thankfully we won. So then it just went from being a fun project to something way much more important, and that's how Servabo was formed.
Yeah, congratulations on the COSAT win. That's huge.
Thank you.
And you're, you know, among a very select and distinguished group of entrepreneurs coming out of the University of Illinois now. And we should say that the company is now formed, and you're starting to hire staff. You've got a little bit of seed funding, both through the university and some outside investors now.
Yes.
Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you.
And I know that you know, through that journey that you've been on, what exactly the product demands or needs at this time is not exactly clear, and that's one of the greatest challenges, right? We have these devices like pepper spray. And then we obviously have these electronics, our smartphones now, and other devices, wearable technology, fitness trackers, and so forth, that are obviously an opportunity to leverage to improve personal safety. Tell us why are you so passionate about personal safety, and in your, you know, what is your vision for how technology will improve lives?
So personal safety is very close to my heart because I'm from India, where women's safety has always been a big concern. I myself have been victim of street harassment and things like that, and it definitely was not fair, you know, and that women especially have to be, now I'm not saying it's only women,
Sure.
but especially have to be concerned about their safety during different phases of their life. So that's how I was interested initially in this project. And then one of our common friends, she got mugged, and she was just taking a walk and suddenly went from a casual stroll to being helpless and not knowing what to do, because nowadays if your phone is taken from you, you are just stranded. You don't know what to do, how to call for help. There are no pay phones.
Yeah.
So she had to go to a complete stranger and ask him to give her her phone and to make a call to 911, and that would have been a dangerous situation if that guy was not really a nice guy. And we were just like, that does not seem right, and you know, we should hopefully find something better, something that works better and more helpful to someone in this kind of a situation. And that's how we started.
Yeah, the violent crime statistics are shocking. all of our lives are touched in some way, shape, or form, right? Some of the stats are that 50% of women are victims of sexual violence, 25% of men, I think. So those are very outrageous and completely unacceptable statistics.
Yeah.
I think we would all agree. So how does this play out? Let's say this works. But the practicality of that is not trivial, right? Because if I'm walking down the street and I'm being mugged, someone's holding a gun to my face saying, "Give me your wallet," for example, and then let's say I give them my wallet, they run off, and luckily they don't take my smartphone or a smart device, and I'm able to do something with that. What would I do, using Servabos technology that would be different than today?
So I think one of the important features that we want to bring to this kind of situation is that ability to initiate a discrete call for help very quickly. You can almost think about it as an analogous situation to what happens at a bank if they get robbed. They have silent alarms that they can press, so police are dispatched immediately to come to their aid. We're trying to bring that capability to the everyday person. So you could have a pendant, you could have a wristwatch, you could have a keychain, something that your assailant wouldn't think as a threatening gesture that you could press and know that there's going to be somebody, some family member or authorities that are now ready to come to your aid. Now that aggressor will probably still take your wallet and still go, but you know that help is on the way. Unlike our friend who, after her phone was stolen, had no recourse to getting help and was completely frigid.
And is there a way around that at all? If the phone gets taken during the crime, is there technology to that can still allow for a call for help?
So we're using Bluetooth technology, whereby you have the option of about 100 to 200 feet from your phone to actually activate this. So even if your phone is taken away from you, within that particular distance, if you still press this button, you can still call for help.
So we're not just talking about an app on the smartphone, although that's part of the technology.
Yes.
And there are products out there, but then a third device or second physical device, either a wearable device or it could be a pendant, a piece of jewelry, a button cover, a bracelet, a ring, something like that, right?
And that would serve as a remote interface for your phone. So you can press that button when you're unable to physically use your phone.
Okay. And then, so let's say we have that. What happens when you push the panic button?
So it interfaces with the phone. So the button will actually trigger the app, and the app will send out notifications depending upon what you have set it to. So it can send out text messages, phone messages, emails, whatever you have specified it, to your emergency contacts. It could be friends and family, it could be the authorities. So depending, you can send out different notifications in different scenarios with different messages, and all these messages get appended with your geographic location. So it goes with a street address saying that you are at this particular place. So when they receive it, they know where you are and can come and help you.
And now I've noticed that there's significant market validation that this is an important technology, because Samsung has integrated some features, some safety features into the the Galaxy S5 phone, where if you triple press the power button, it takes a photo from both cameras, and then I guess there's some programmable features maybe to that. I don't know if you've really drilled down on that.
So we have looked into that, and I'll say one of the things that has come out of our customer discovery process is to develop an effective safety solution. It's not just enough to look at what's going to be done for the victim and what they're doing. You also have to consider how the emergency authorities are going to respond. If the police are going to effectively leverage these kinds of tools, they need to understand how they work. They need to be involved in the conversation of how the technology is developed and what information is given to them. They need to be educated on what to expect when situations happen. That's one of the reasons why we focus very heavily on having kind of a coalition where the Servabo, the company, the local 911 dispatcher, and there's other support services that deal with violent crime. And we're trying to talk to all these parties to make sure what we're developing is very usable on all sides. A simple text message, in many cases, won't even be accessible by 911. You have to do more.
Right. Excuse me. Yes, and the 911 text message is coming. It's not available yet in, I guess, most communities, but it's definitely on the radar, and local governments are embracing that technology, it appears. So hopefully in the next year or two that will be available. So that is, I think, one of your unique angles, is that you are working so closely with local authorities, the University of Illinois, and what has emerged and how has that impacted, your development process, so to speak?
A lot, actually. The more we talk, the more we learn, I guess. So one main thing that has changed for us is we have been thinking of ourselves as someone who sells an end customer product. Someone buys the device and that was all there is to it. But now we are more talking about a model whereby we work closely with, let's say, for example, campuses. So we're working closely with the campus police, the local 911 dispatchers, and people like that. And hence, our service is not just the end product that goes to a customer, in this case, let's say student, but also to campus police, whereby in this particular scenario, let's say, if a call comes in, they can track the phone, they can see, what person that is, if that is allowed, and maybe even be able to push notifications onto the phones rather than just receive message. So they can say something like, okay, this crime is happening in this area, so please keep out of that particular area, and things like that. So that is a particular proposition that would work in this kind of a scenario. So now, just being a general personal safety device that can be used in any cases, we are narrowing it down into particular scenarios or situations so as to enhance the ability to reach out for help as well as to get help. Right? So.
Yeah, it's almost like what has emerged is an opportunity for safety systems consulting, because campuses, for example, through the realization that, for example, when there's a mass shooting, they need better systems for the first responders and for the people in and near the event and then elsewhere. The whole thing, the system that we have today, it doesn't work very well. Right?
I think what comes to my mind, especially when I talk with campus police, is the systems that are in place are antiquated. They haven't had a chance to evolve or catch up with the latest trends in technology. And one example that they shared with us recently, we just had the Illinois Marathon, and they wanted a better way of tracking where the first and last runners were in that race. And they knew they could do it with cell phones, but they didn't really have a tool in place that would allow them to leverage that ability either. Okay. And so there's a perfect example. It's a relatively simple problem, but they didn't have the staff or the tools in place to do something as simple as tracking where two people are in a race. So I think you're definitely right that with the emergence of wearable technology, smartphones, connected devices, Internet of Things, there is a need for a revitalization or reevaluation of how we define safety and what are the systems in place for what is safety.
Yeah. I mean, developing a personal safety device is important and relevant, I think, but as far as the opportunity goes, it strikes me that maybe there is a larger ecosystem there for working with local governments and then institutions that have large captive audiences like universities and schools of all flavors, really.
And there's this new movement to address violence in campuses, especially sexual violence against women, and we're hoping and we're hoping that this device would help in that. It is said that 1 in every 4 college-going women would be a victim, and sometimes mostly it's people you know, and you're not really prepared. You're not really armed with something saying that, okay, let me keep my pepper spray ready because my friend is going to assault me. And does not happen. So something that can kind of fade into the background but is always there, and you can reach out to in case you feel necessary.
Yeah.
So that's what we are going for. And this also, hopefully, since now we are customizing it into a particular scenario, let's say campus scenario, that helps us in honing down on what kind of information would get you maximum help, really reduce that time response. So going from a 50% chance by using a device, now you've increased it to some 75% chance because it's more honed in and it's a lesser time cycle to getting help.
Yeah, it does seem like the risk of being stripped of the device is still a fairly big risk, and with implantable electronics really coming down the pike here pretty quickly, obviously we've had pacemakers for I don't know, many years now, but John Rogers' work, right, with implantable and flexible electronics, I could see how maybe there's a way in the not too distant future where you won't be able to strip the person of the device that allows them to make a call for help. And then to different layers, right? There's the police, which is great, but then maybe there is, to a friend, a colleague, somebody who might be in closer proximity and in a better position to intervene and prevent a situation.
Yes, definitely. We are talking about hopefully later on standalone devices that does not phone, and phones are getting better and better every day. At some point, I'm sure the batteries will last forever. Nothing can drain the battery, things like that. So we are moving on to that era that things are getting better and better.
Yeah.
And then another thing that we have been thinking is to employ sensors in the device, whereby it can make more analytical decisions of what exactly your emergency is. So it can differentiate between a medical emergency and the sexual assault, So things like that. Now, however, if we do that in this current version, it will be costly and too difficult, too big to carry out. So this is kind of our first version to improve your chances to begin with, and then hopefully we can slowly keep improving that chances, and it can reach 100% at one time, and one day maybe hopefully we won't need it at all. That will be the best case scenario.
Yeah, it harkens a little bit to the science fiction movie Minority Report, where the police had some way of seeing clairvoyantly into the near future and preventing crimes. But with the advent of Google Glass, right, which you can see then becoming a contact lens and then becoming implanted, we will have so many new capabilities with the Internet of Things to really change the game and at the end of the day, stop bad people from doing bad things that they would do otherwise. So that's great. Well, what would you say? We just have a couple of minutes left here. What is your advice to other entrepreneurs who have an idea but haven't necessarily taken the leap the way that you have? What is your advice for them?
I mean, you always say, just start, right?
Just go do it. Don't think too much. Now, it is always good to talk to people who have done that before, people who you think are customers that always help to better your idea, But don't think too much. Just go do it. You will know if this is not going to work. You will hopefully know if this is not something you're passionate about. But if you're passionate about it and you want to see it, then just go for it. And hopefully good things will come your way.
Yeah, and I mean, reach out to your community. We have been incredibly fortunate in this community to receive a lot of help and assistance. Entrepreneurship, growth of small business, that is a critical concern for all communities. They want to see increases in their economy. So if you look, I'm sure you can find locally people who have either tried their own small businesses or who are willing to advise you and support you. You don't have to do it in a vacuum, and you really shouldn't. You should talk to as many people as you can about your idea and your goals and your vision.
And however good you are, there's always something you don't know. You definitely need someone who knows it. So always talk to people who know these things, who have who are more than happy to help, like Tim here.
Yeah.
So, always take advantage of that, and it's always for your better.
Well, there you have it. Straight from the entrepreneur's mouth. Thank you, Tim and Nishana, for coming on to the show. This is CU150, episode 10. It's May 22nd. And for those aspiring entrepreneurs out there, just go for it. Thank you so much, and have a great day.
Bye.